Dear YouTube, this is my friend Mackenzie.
Hi.
And we just got back from camping, and we have some stories to tell you. Okay, so day one, we took an RV up to, where'd we go?
The Sequoias.
We took an RV up to the Sequoias, and I don't really know what happened.
It was a really long ride. About 8 hours, 7.5.
I slept the whole time. There's this couch that I was seated in the middle of, and I just kind of sprawled out and slept.
On top of everyone.
Yeah, on top of everyone. But I mean, they didn't wake me up, and you can't, it's not your fault when you're actually asleep.
Yeah, it is.
Shut up. So she drove up the whole way awake. I drove up the whole way asleep. And I mean, she kind of blames me and like is angry at me for it. But I mean, we left at 4 in the morning and it's her fault for being awake.
Okay, we left at 5:30 or 5. Still, that's really early.
People are supposed to be sleeping like me. I was the smart one. Anyways, day one we drive up and we get there. What happened once we got there?
We got there and we kind of just, I don't know, we situated everything, and then what do? We just walked around.
We walked around.
Like in circles.
It was really bored. Yeah, we walked around in giant circles around the campsite because no one else was there yet. We went up with a huge group of people. No one else was there. It was just us and like this one other family, and it was really boring. And that was day one. Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Day two was worse. Day two, like, more families came. And it was still really bad and boring. And so we did the same thing as day one. We walked around in giant circles.
Oh, but we had a picnic that lasted like 10 minutes.
We packed for this picnic for like 30 minutes. And then we went on the picnic and it lasted a whole like 10 minutes because bees came.
A big one.
A big one, yeah. We don't like bees. I don't like bees.
I don't like bees either. I don't think many people like bees.
No. Well, some people do. I'm sure some people do. I like that movie, Bee Movie. That was cute. Okay, day 3 was interesting. I was expecting to post this blog in like a couple parts, but I think it might go by kind of fast, so it may not be a long, it may be one blog. But anyways, day 3. Everyone's up. It's a little more interesting, and we went to the lake.
Hume Lake.
Hume Lake. And there's this log at Hume Lake. Well, first there's this rock at Hume Lake. And last year when we were there, we swam a lot, like to the rock and back. Like I probably did like, how many laps?
I don't know, a lot.
A lot. I swam a lot, like amazing amounts, like Olympic amounts. But this year we swam 1 lap and we're like, oh, we're sore, we're out of shape, we're tired. So that was as much swimming as we did to the rock and back once.
And we wanted to jump off the rock, but we couldn't find little rocks to climb up to the big rock. So we swam there for no reason, really.
Yeah, we got there and we were expecting to take a break, and we couldn't take a break. So we had to swim back. We almost died. And then further up the Hume Lake, whatever, there's this log. And people, what they do is they kind of play like King of the Hill on the log. So, like, people are all around the log and you try and climb up on top of the log, and then you get pushed off. It's fun. Well, Mackenzie's not very good at it.
Not at all.
She got on top of the log like once, I think.
Okay, more like 3 times.
Okay, you lasted like 2 seconds each time. Doesn't count. I was like queen of the log. Like, I was up there the whole time. Like, no defeating me.
Yeah.
Well, this one little boy, he pushed me, but instead of pushing me like a good push, like where he would push me off the log, he pushed me, and I stayed on the log, and I fell on my foot, and my foot like got this huge nasty bruise. And it swelled up, and it hurt really bad, and it hurt really bad. That's pretty much the story of the log.
The bruise was nasty, but then
it went away by, like, that night, and I was really sad, because my foot still hurts, and there's nothing to show for it. But then, this is the best part of the day. My uncle was up the lake, up, like, this, like, creek thing, like, this giant, like, rock creek thing, where, like, you climb all the way up, and, like, the rock's really smooth, so you can kind of, like, slide down like a slide. Well, he climbed all the way up with a bunch of little kids, and he decided to, like, jump in a hole of water or something, and he, like, popped his arm out of his socket.
Is that what happened? He jumped in a hole of water?
Yeah, he jumped in a hole of water.
Oh,
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
He did that. And we thought his arm was broken, and his little son, who's, like, 10 or 7, how old's Josh?
Isn't he Sam's age?
Yeah, so, like, 7?
8.
I don't know how old my brother is. whatever. He comes running back to where everyone else is. He's like, my dad broke his arm. It's not a joke. Because my uncle always jokes about stupid things, and so nobody really believed him at first.
No, Max ran back. Yeah, Max ran back. Uncle Greg broke his arm.
Max ran back, and he was like, Uncle Greg broke his arm. And we're like, oh, gosh. So my dad and Max start running back, and I'm like, great, there's a bunch of little kids up there, and nobody's going to do anything with them. They're just going to leave them there. So I start running after them. And I don't run. I don't do anything. I swam across the lake, and I was done, okay? I started Baywatching it up the creek, following my dad and my brother, and I get there, and there's like 10 little kids. I'm like, all right, Uncle Greg doesn't need you staring at him right now. He's in a lot of pain. Let's go. And none of them are listening to me, of course. But eventually I got them to come back to camp, and they took my uncle down to the hospital. My dad went with him, which was an awful idea, because then it's me and my mom and us and like 100 little kids. So that wasn't great.
And I was listening to music, so I didn't really know what was going on. And so everyone's gone, and I'm laying there, and suddenly this guy walks by and tells me, like, oh, you trying to tan? Or, like, oh, you getting tan? And I was like, well, I'm trying to. And he goes, looks like it's working. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, come for a swim. And I was just like, no, it's too cold. And he's like, well, how about I come for a swim, and I come back here and hang out with you. And I was just like, okay, cool. And he was, like, a boy from, like, some other random state, who you could tell he was like
Ohio.
Yeah.
Sorry if I know it's from Ohio.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah. Just some guys don't know how to pick up girls. Anyways, my uncle breaks his arm, and all the parents are like scattering like ants, like trying to like get him to the hospital or something. And like up in the mountains, you don't have cell phones. Like we couldn't call anyone. We had to deal with it ourselves. Whatever. We get him to a hospital. He gets back like late that night with my dad, and all he had done was dislocate his arm. Well, I mean, it was a big deal, but like we thought he like somebody had started the story that his elbow had like popped out of his arm, like broken,
the bone, like the bone was sticking out, and his arm was just like dangling.
So we thought it was like this like disgusting, like horrifying accident of like broken elbow, but he just popped his shoulder out of his socket, and it was still like awful, like you couldn't move it or anything, but whatever. It was interesting. Is that all that happened that day?
I think so.
That was a lot, though.
It was.
Wait, was that the day that the bug got on Grace?
No, that was
the next day.
That was the next day.
Okay.